Good morning. It's Bonnie here from Step Into Brilliance. So, I got a message on my new podcast yesterday, and they were asking me to elaborate on something that I said about expectations and managing your expectations. So, what I was talking about was a little different than what I'm going to talk about today. So, this is just the perfect topic for what's coming up right now. With the holidays coming, a lot of us end up feeling really disappointed after the holidays because we didn't, when we're kids, we didn't get the toy that we want, right? But now it's more like we didn't get the relationship that we wanted. Does that sound familiar at all? Most of us have these grand expectations of people, of our spouses, our kids, our partners, our bosses, our coworkers. And not only do we rarely voice these opinions, but they're usually the super high standard that it would be really hard for anyone to meet anyway, especially if they didn't know about it. So when I say manage your expectations, I want you to understand that most of our suffering comes from these expectations, these beliefs about life. So it's another case of beliefs not matching our reality. And if you are one of these people who have high expectations of yourself and of others and get really stressed out when they don't match, when they don't agree, when they don't link up, manage your expectations. What are you expecting? Are you expecting one of the most common ones, let's face it, is we expect our partners to read our minds and we don't ask for what we want or what we need, and then we get mad when it doesn't show up. We even ask Santa for what we want. Come on, people. He sees everything, right? He sees us when we're sleeping, which isn't creepy at all. But we expect our partners to somehow just magically know what we need or want. That's not fair. Let's be fair. Let's manage some expectations. We also have the Norman Rockwell expectation, which is the one that kind of shows up around this time of year. I think Thanksgiving and Christmas, maybe Hanukkah, for those of you, my friends who celebrate, maybe for you too. We have the Norman Rockwell expectation. And if you know who that is, he's a fairly famous painter. And he painted beautiful pictures, warm and cozy, of families. And I don't know what era it was, maybe the 1940s, 1950s. And you look at them and you just get that warm, fuzzy family feeling. You know what I mean? One of the famous ones is around the table with the big turkey, right? And I think Mom's putting the turkey on the table, Dad's standing there with the knife ready to go, and everyone's like, ooh, They're perfect. They're perfect family pictures. They're the ideals. Now, the problem is we're not dealing with pictures in our real life. We're not dealing with characters we can manipulate. We're dealing with real people who have pain, who have trauma, who have their own expectations of what perfect looks like when it comes to family get-togethers. And the Norman Rockwell expectation, and I've kind of coined that for myself because I used to have a picture, a Norman Rockwell print in my room as a kid. And you get that ideal, you get that expectation that if your family doesn't sort of fit that mold, if you don't have that moment, that perfect moment, then there's something wrong. You're doing it wrong. And that's not true. If we manage our expectations about what's going to happen, how it's going to be, we laugh at ourselves. We laugh when, the souffle falls or the shortbread burns. Life goes on. Life goes on. There's one of my mentors used to say, if no small children or animals are hurt, it's all good. Don't worry so much. So we need to manage our expectations and kind of bring them back down to some reality of what's really going to happen. So I am inviting you. What's your Norman Rockwell expectation for the holidays? Do you expect the perfect gift? Do you even know what it is? right? Do you expect everyone to show up in a certain attitude, in a certain way, without regard to how they're actually feeling or what they're dealing with? This year, expectations are going to be all over the place because we've got this whole little COVID thing to deal with that is going to disappoint a lot of people if they don't manage their expectations, if they don't bring them back down to earth and realize what's really, truly important. What is it that we want from that Norman Rockwell moment anyways? What is it we need from our partners? Do we really need the perfect gift, or we just need to know that they've tried and thought about us, right? So understanding each other, managing our expectations. So I'm inviting you to look at your expectations around the holiday and see where you could maybe mitigate those expectations so that you're not going to be frustrated and disappointed and suffering. That doesn't mean you can't expect a certain level of kindness and thoughtfulness, but those are boundaries. I'm talking about the bigger ones, right? The ones where you have this pipe dream and then get really frustrated and angry when it doesn't happen. So that, my friends, is my invitation to you today. And put below, do you have one of those Norman Rockwell expectations? Because I got to tell you, I still dream about that a little bit. That perfect moment, the perfect family, the perfect day. Maybe someday, but I don't count on it. It's just one of those things that we like to think about, but I don't put that on somebody else. Does that make sense? So look for those expectations, manage them, recognize them for what they are, and see if you really need to connect those back down to reality so that you have a happier, more joyous holiday, no matter what it looks like. All right, so have a wonderful Wednesday, and I will talk to you soon. Mwah. Bye for now.